Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Four Guys with Quarters, Season 2, Episode 22 or 23. That's my fault, I don't remember. It happens when you get old and been podcasting since 2013. But, some topics today. Gonna discuss the Xbox Series S reveal, the price, cloud gaming, the Ubisoft Forward, the Sony Bloomberg article, then their denial, Borderlands 3 stuff that Leo loves because that is his avatar. And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce a special guest real quick. We have the one, the only, it's the Xbot 448. What's going on, buddy?
Battletoad, brother. Since you took my intro, what I usually say when I first come in, I had to go with the Battletoads cry, but clowns panel, it is good to be here. It's been a while. But I always feel, clowns. I always feel at home on Four Guys with the chat, being on the show, stuff like that, and. I gotta say, Four Guys with Quarters, man. You guys roll out the red carpet, make us guests feel at home, man. I appreciate that, bro.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, one day I'll get as good as the Iron Lords' introductions, or almost as good. But, it's a practice, work in progress thing.
Cognito got that from me, right? Do you remember the over-the-top next podcast introductions? I've toned him down over time, but he got that. You got that from me, brother.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just play it. Shout out to the Iron Lords, yeah.
And then we have another special guest, my brother from Game Beyond the Box, who looks like a Borderlands wiggle worm spermy thing. What's going on, Leo?
And I'm out. Have a good one.
It's gonna follow
I'm
you,
doing
sir.
okay, man. Thanks for having me on. This is weird being on another podcast, I'm not gonna lie. I'm used to being just on the Game Beyond the Box. Hope everyone's having a good day.
Thanks, man. I hope you are,
Leo,
too.
You actually got to deal with news tonight, man. You actually got to deal with news, because I know Wilmy likes to say, news? What news? You know what I'm saying?
What are topics?
And then, without further ado, the newest members of the Four Guys with Quarters panel. I have Midway Monster reigning in from the home of Chicago. What's going on, brother?
What's up, everyone? Glad to be back on the podcast. Glad to be an official panel member with VJ, you podcast workaholic, and these two great members of the community in Xbot and Leonidas. Let's get it going.
And we also have the amazing, analytical, intellectual VJ, aka Viewpoint Gaming, who gives the coolest insights into things. What's going on, VJ?
Hey, Clowns, how you doing? Yeah, thank you so much for the intro and having me back on the show. I really appreciate it. I actually have no clue who our two guests are, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know them on the show.
You don't know Leo? Come on, bro. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, that's okay, VJ. They're both really cool people, so I'm sure you're going to fit right in. Xbot was one of the first guys that I've actually podcasted with when I started out, and he always made me feel welcome. So he's a great member of the community, and if I could, I would hug him right now, but good thing we're far away from each other, because that would look weird.
Feeling the love, man. A bro hug would have been perfect at that point in time.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope you can find me in this Gaming Beyond the Box and on Twitter every now and then.
Leo, I think they keep you in the box.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, first thing I want to say is I'm sorry about Xbot's Twitter handle below. It is supposed to have a background like everybody else's, but unfortunately, OBS didn't feel like adding that background, even though I clicked it. So he's a little different tonight, but no need to worry. Eventually, I'll make.
Tonight?
Yeah, just tonight. Eventually, I make everything animated, but I need to pull out a, Final Cut Pro for that, and I don't have that on this PC. But I know this topic is going to get many people on the panel pretty excited. It is the Xbox Series S reveal that was leaked by Brad Sams. And basically, what the leak entailed was that it's going to be a amazing entry point at $299. It packs some powerful features for next generation. And I mean, in this economy, I think it's perfect to get people in, and that's what the goal is from Xbox. So I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest with you guys. Xbox, I want to go to you first on this because I know you're a huge fan of Xbox, and this is probably something that you've been thinking about a lot lately. What's your thoughts on this, man?
Well, first off, like when it first got leaked, and of course, shout out to Brad Sams. And the funny thing was the graphics that came out. If other people were using it, Brad Sams, he put his name like right in the middle of the freaking thing, so everybody knew where that graphic came from. So shout out to him, man. He got acknowledgement in places that never saw him before. I thought that was awesome. When it comes to the system, we're looking at a 1440p, 60 frames per second, up to 120 frames per second. I like this. I like it. It's mirroring what they're doing with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, but in next gen, because what they did with basically having the same CPU, the same velocity architecture, but the Series S having kind of like the lesser GPU, perfect for the 1440p. The price point, the $299 price point, I think that was a key thing, because there are a lot of people out there when it comes to the next generation of consoles. Those consoles are always expensive, and a lot of people are like, man, I'll just wait until the price drops. Well, guess what? They gave you a machine that has that price drop day one at $300. And I think a lot of people are looking at this. I know on social media, and trust me, I know social media, can be toxic and all that good stuff. But at least for the first 24 hours after the leaks of this, I saw PC gamers saying that they might pick this thing up just because of the price. They never even thought about getting an Xbox. Some PlayStation, like diehard PlayStation people, talking about, well, we don't know the price of the PlayStation 5, but it's like, well, that's for $300. I might be able to pick up PS5 and get the Series S and then play both. And these are some people that you would never see say something like that. So it really caught a lot of people's eye. And even the looks kind of did, because you see all the memes about like the speaker and stuff like that. But I think it's a really cool move. It actually had me thinking about, well, do I really want to get a Series X or get a Series S? Because me, I got a big family, all that good stuff. If I could save some money and still get invested in the next gen, I mean, it kind of it puts it up in the air. Clowns?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I agree with you. When I saw the price point of this thing, too, at entry level for next gen, I'm thinking, I could use one of those in my house. I could put that, below my main TV as a entertainment device plus a gaming device with Game Pass Ultimate. It's pretty exciting. I mean, even some of the videos that they've shown, I don't know if you guys seen this, but like the resume videos for this have been pretty quick, even on the S, going from game to game to game. So I don't care about the toxic trolls on Twitter downplaying this. I think this is a fantastic option for many families out there. We're in an economy where COVID's affected everybody, affected production. It's affected, people's jobs, unemployment. It's affected other types of income for people, kids staying home more, people staying home more. So Xbox coming in at this price point at $300, I mean, it hits that for all these people out there that are having a hard time. And right now you could probably take your Xbox One X, go to GameStop or another place to trade in and get at least $175 for it, and that's almost half the price already for a way better console than the Xbox One X. So I just think Xbox is doing something that is fantastic for their consumers, for their fans. And they're feeling everybody right now, They're like, oh, the economy sucks. Let's help people out. Let's do this. That's how I feel.
It's really funny, for the people trying to downplay this thing. And, yeah, if I wanted anything, it would be more memory on the SSD. If I was really nitpicking, but something was brought up to me on the Series X podcast that we did. It was in the chat. It was a guy named Fun Speculation, and he was absolutely on point with this. He's like, when it comes down to it, this system is not downloading the 4K assets to these games because it's not a
point,
port.
Xbot.
Well, see, that's what happens. But so when it comes down to it, the games, not only do they have technology, to make your game download smaller, but it's not downloading the huge kind of like 4K assets for the games either. And you look at everything as a whole, and this looks like a quality system for an entry level, bro.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, where else can you get this kind of tech for $300? You can't even buy the newest NVIDIA graphic card for that price. So I think going into next gen is fantastic for this. You can't beat it. There's nothing that you can do to beat this price on this Xbox.
It's a great deal. I do wonder how many people are going to screw up their TVs, though, with the HDMI ports.
Leo's bringing out some common sense.
We know that it needs a 2.1 HDMI, but the common person they're not gonna pay attention to that.
So what happens if your TV doesn't have HDMI 2.1?
Well, if you try to jam it in there, it's gonna break your port or the cable.
Leo, maybe I'm wrong in this, but I thought the sizes were going to be the same, and it was just the tech behind the port.
I thought the size was like a little bit bigger or something like that, but
I'm gonna have to roll with the size has got to be the same, because when it comes to HDMI 2.1, like I got a 4K television now. Shout out to my brother Yobi, got me into 4K gaming. But if like I bought a system and they didn't have that HDMI port for my TV, I know I would be really, really pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come home with your new system and you go to plug it in and it's like it doesn't fit. I think they got to go with kind of like whatever the majority is right now, unless like the two different HDMIs are the same size. Like, they can still plug into each other, and then the performance side, like the hardware behind it, the tech behind it, that's where you get the advancement. That's where I think it would be.
Well, also, if they plug in the HDMI 2.1 cord into a normal 2.0, will it even show anything up on the TV?
I think, I want to say this, I thought I read that the 2.0s can go up to 2K at 1440p. It's the 2.1s that do the extra 4K stuff. Like the 4K with the higher frame rates, like the 120.
Somebody help me out. The HDMI ports that have ARC labeled on them, are those still 2.0? You know, the ARC ports where they tell you where you can get the 4K and the HDR?
Crazy Greek dude in the chat says 2.1 is 4K 120 hertz.
Okay,
that's the help you got, right?
so basically the 0.1 is the extra frames, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it ups the tech so that it can run at that speed, that frames.
I do wonder.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. Even if it's new technology that will eventually take over, we're looking at a launch in November, and they got to think about what is the majority of TV tech and stuff like that they are, most people are going to plug the system into in November. You know what I'm saying? So they have to have that all figured out. I don't get too crazy into the wiring, and I know it's important and stuff, but I don't really get too crazy with it, just because I would automatically think these companies, even if there are advancements, it's still got to cater to the most common dynamic at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. VJ, I want to get your input on this. What do you think about it?
Which one? The Series S?
Yes, the Series S reveal. at the $299?
Oh, me. I think Xbox was it 448? I think he covered off pretty well, but it did spark something in my mind. Before I talk about the Xbox Series S, I'd like to just have a quick look at the PS4. It's still going to sell around another 10 million this year, maybe another 50 to 100 million units of software. Price drop, I think, should be logical, if not inevitable. Sony's pretty much going to be rinsing every single penny out of that PS4 console in its back catalogue of games. There's just completely no doubt. And historically, they've been known they've known exactly how to see out a system. They definitely need to keep the PS4 45 million PlayStation Plus subscribers, and I think they've got 100 million active users on PSN. They've obviously, very careful of that, right? That's their sort of gold mine that they want to sort of transition across to the PS5. And this is why I think potentially is a really good reason, a really good strategy by Xbox by positioning the Series S together with Game Pass Ultimate if you buy it. Well, I don't know how many months they're going to bundle with it if you buy it straight at retail at $299, or whether people use the All Access program and acquire the S for what is it, $25 a month, and you get 24 months of Game Pass Ultimate. But strategically, it makes sense at $299 because I don't have all the answers, but it may very well curtail or cut into the lifespan of the PS4 and those users looking to transition over to a new machine. I think it's a fascinating topic. I haven't researched it enough or looked into it, and there's no easy answers, but I think it's definitely something to look out for.
That was an absolutely brilliant take on the strategy when it comes to having this entry level at such a price point, brother. I applaud you for that, man. I have not heard anybody say anything like that. And granted, I did take a couple days away from the computer. I was telling Clowns, I was telling Leo, everybody on the panel. But dude, I have not heard anybody make that much common sense out there when it came to the Series S in terms of what's going on over at PlayStation. Dude, bravo.
Yep. Yeah. VJ always brings like these analytical, intellectual approach to things, and he thinks things kind of like a business would, and his insight is definitely mind-opening, and it's amazing at times, like the stuff that I've actually learned from VJ and listening to him. So I always appreciate his input, man.
Hell yeah.
Leo, what do you think? I think it's a great price. I was surprised as hell, like everyone else, when it came out at $299. I was like, wait, what? Seriously? That is cheap as hell. That's cheaper than buying a PS4 right now, or an Xbox One X. It's crazy that you can get into next gen so easily. They're making it so people just buy in real fast.
But haters will tell you One X does 4K though.
I have not played in 4K at all, and I really could care less. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty picture. Don't get me wrong, but thankfully, I play on a Xbox One S, and thankfully for doing that, I've had no problems with my favorite game, Borderlands 3. Everyone that owns an X, it shuts it down. They're afraid to play it. Me, I'm still playing the game, so I don't mind that.
He said smooth. He's playing smooth, people.
Well, I know what Leo's playing, and it's probably Borderlands 3.
Yep. Krieg DLC.
Yep, I knew it. He was trying to poke that eye in the DLC that's looking at you constantly.
Yeah, there's multiple eyes throughout the levels like that. It's awesome as hell. And there's just so many different things they do with it. Like you're in a psycho's mind, and then there's calm areas for the same version. It's weird.
Midway, I want to go to you on this as well and get your insight into this. I know that you love gaming, you're a fan of gaming in general. So, what do you think about this price point for people?
Perfect price point. It's mirroring its older brother in the 1S, $299 back in. Even more bells and whistles, even almost equally so as with the Series X. I feel that this is definitely the perfect introduction to anybody that wants to get into the Xbox. I'm gonna you know, I'm actually gonna try to change up my gaming experience a little bit and actually get a gaming monitor. I want to get a gaming monitor to handle those 120 frames instead of just trying to get a 120 hertz TV. I can get a monitor for what, a quarter of the cost. So I want to do it that way. The thing that I like the most about it is, you say, like you said, Xbot with the 512 SSD. I believe I also game on the 1S, and the I believe the file size of I think the Cuphead, if you have it for 1X enhanced, it's
Mhm.
close to 20, while on the 1S it's around like 5 or 6.
Damn.
So if you look at the file size, you're only putting 5 gigabytes on that SSD. That's gonna have what, HDR, 60 frames. Heck, maybe I don't know. Can a side scroll get ray tracing? I have no idea. So um, that's the one thing I like the most about it. It's gonna be it's gonna be hard for someone to turn that price down.
Yeah, no doubt. And another thing, because again, people have been talking about the 1X and what the 1X can do in terms of games and stuff. One of the first things that caught my eye with this new generation was dramatically decreased load times, and in some cases virtually no load times. And to have a box like this that, overall resolution, again, it's not 4K. It upscales to 4K for your TV. But to have those features like the decreased load times and all that good stuff, the quick resume and all that stuff, like people are asking, is this really a next gen box because it's not 4K? Here we go with resolution again. You know what I'm saying? Like beginning to the beginning, middle of the year, there was this whole thing of the generation. There was this whole thing about resolution, which really hurt games like Sunset Overdrive and Quantum Break when they came out, because people thought that resolution meant the game was good or something, like, or the game wasn't good if it wasn't, the highest resolution 1080p at that point in time. And now people are asking about this box and if it's next generation. Like, everything about it is next generation pretty much, except it's lower resolution. And the reason why is they can bring that, this box in at a incredible entry level price point. I think they did a great job.
I
Well,
mean,
if I can, if I sorry
that's
to
okay.
interrupt you, but I just had to get on this point. Like, this could also be to how, Microsoft kind of hits on the messaging a little bit, because like with the 1S, you had the 4K Blu-ray player with HDR in game because people wanted picture clarity and brightness, and then you come over and here they are listening to us again about frame quality with a much smaller box at a cheaper price point.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. One thing I was gonna say is that there's a lot of people, like I believe Leo said this earlier. A lot of people are still gaming like on 1080p. So I think that pushing the 4K narrative constantly, resolution, doesn't matter to a lot of casuals, or to a lot of kids out there that are just gaming on 1080p's. Probably still 720p's that they're getting, like if they're 9 years old at Walmart real cheap. So I mean, is resolution really gonna matter for all the casuals? I don't think so. I think
so I'm casual now, huh?
no, you're
Hey,
hardcore. You're hardcore Borderlands 3, Leo. Hardcore.
cell shading.
I do play other games,
Hard,
We can't tell though, because everything is
hardcore
Borderlands 3.
Borderlands 3.
Hey, I consider myself like a hardcore heart with a casual head. I don't need, and the first game I played in 60 frames was Gears 4 in the performance mode on the 1X.
That's one
And
game I doubt I'll ever play.
Well, it opened my eyes. It opened my eyes on how frames change the look of a game.
I can't
And
stand
that's.
any of the years.
I'm just talking about a 60 frame game, sir. So
Still
just
Gears, don't care.
so I have.
Leo.
All right, raccoon sperm picture. So just imagine, like, for me, I have frames eyes. I feel like I don't have resolution eyes, so I feel like I get more out of a 60 frame game than I do a 4K game.
Oh, I understand, man. I play on the PC too, and when I switched over, holy crap, it was so different. Like, I went back and played a lot of my older games, and playing them where it was so smooth compared to playing it on like the Xbox or the PS4 was crazy.
Right.
Well, I mean, the next topic I want to get into is the topic that, Bloomberg kind of like alluded to, saying that Sony kind of cut down on the forecast, that they didn't have or couldn't produce enough units due to chip shortages and whatnot. And then, Sony fires back to Games Biz and says, basically that's not true. I think Nabellin did the tweet on that. So I want to go to VJ on this. I know that you're very analytical. I don't know if you had time to research this topic because it kind of just broke.
Okay, no worries.
But what do you think about it?
Okay, so 20 years ago, in September 2000, CNN reported, and I was pretty busy in the games industry back then, and I'm paraphrasing here. And it basically said Sony will have to cut launch quantities by 50% from North America, citing problems in production. They were saying stuff like Sony's going to stagger shipments in on a weekly basis by air freight to meet demand. And then they were saying we've had independent reports saying that Sony are months behind in production. And then rumors hit Wall Street, driving Sony's share price down by 9%, which is a lot more than the 3% or whatever has been reported recently. And then it also sort of at the bottom, sort of put a mitigating factor in there as well, saying Sony's not the only player in the industry. Microsoft's going to is working on an Xbox, a home console entertainment system of its own. So what I want to ask the panel, does any of this sound really familiar? Right?
Yeah.
Because these days, it's not necessarily CNN or Bloomberg, the media outlets that are the problem, but the individuals that react and report, often sort of inaccurately sort of regurgitating without probity, and that reflects on the individual and the integrity of the office that they're representing. People have forgotten history, and in this instance, it's not a good time to do that. At the end of the day, all anyone remembers from 2000, or for the lifespan of the PlayStation, that it was the best-selling console of all time, 150 odd million units, was it, something like that? And the post is still up on CNN. So that's really all I've got to say about it.
Actually, the first thing I remember about PS4 back then was that little skit they did with Yoshida and the one dude where they're like, "Here, you can borrow my game."
This is how. Yeah, I remember that.
That made me laugh so hard.
PS2, right? This is not PS3, right? Back in 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, and that's the points that VJ brings up, is that, he's got a lot of good insights into this former business industry and analytical. I wouldn't even remember that, VJ. That's definitely a good thing to bring up here, because it's kind of like the similar thing that it's repeating. They're saying this Xbox is ready to go, and it's just interesting because Sony is kind of denying it. And I don't know, if Bloomberg is telling the truth here, and that's what they got from like the shareholders and the investor reports, or if what Sony is saying is the truth. It's kind of hard for me to tell, because even if it is the truth, Sony's not going to want to come out and say, yeah, we fell short, to the mass public, because it's going to create a supply and demand situation. And then there's going to be a lot more scalping than there probably is going to be from the start in general. So it's kind of like a catch-22 for Sony, I think.
Yeah, well, clowns. I worked at GameStop in 2013 when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out. And one thing I will say, I think Sony does want a certain supply and demand situation, kind of like what Nintendo does, because Nintendo only puts out so many units at a time, especially at the beginning when they're first coming out with new hardware. And I think Sony likes that because it does draw attention. But I think they want to walk a fine line between creating that hype that way with supply and demand, and also not affecting, Sony's stock. You know what I'm saying? Like V said. And when it comes down to it, the way that everything is going, and now Bloomberg might be more credible in general news, but I'm talking about gaming news and stuff like that generally. We really can't hang our hat on what like a gaming journalist says, and then we really can't hang our hat on the response from the company that they're talking about either, because we've seen time and time again both sides not telling the truth. When it comes to the news side of things, of course they want juicy articles to get clicks and whatnot, and then you have the answer by the company that's coming out with the hardware, and their answer is to kind of squash any type of negative momentum that could possibly hurt their stocks, hurt kind of like their mind share or anything like that. So we don't really know who to believe with this. So I believe none of them. How about that?
I mean, that's fair. Real quick, I know it's not a topic, but I just wanted to bring this up when you brought about supply and demand situation. Is that yep?
Sorry, I just wanted to just tack on to what our illustrious guest just said, because finally, when you have a PS5 or an Xbox and you're playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, or you're playing Wastelands 3, you're not sitting there, right, worrying about what the SoC chip yield is, right? At Sony's manufacturing plant, right? You're sitting there playing your game, and I think that's got to be the most important thing for me, anyway, at my age.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, playing the game and enjoying it for what it is definitely the most important thing. And Nintendo is no stranger to supply and demand. The Super Mario 3D All Stars already is sold out at most retailers because they announced that it was limited, and it's already being scalped on Amazon as high as $167. So
they created that supply and demand. Nintendo loves doing that.
Yeah.
That's
So
correct prices.
it is. So I think Xbot has a point with the supply and demand situation. Midway, I'm going to go to you on this one next. Do you have any thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, chronologically speaking, when I heard about the SoC problems, I was like, how like a hardware company to have hardware problems. Everyone was side-eyeing, right? Everyone was side-eyeing the construction of the SoC when they talked about how high the chips were clocked and all that. So it almost felt like told you so almost, but like at the same time when they deny it, of course they're gonna deny it. If the shoe's on the other foot, obviously, Microsoft would probably deny it too. But it's Sony's problem. And I'm pretty sure they'll probably spin this into some sort of positive where they'll just say, look at how popular it is. It can't stay on the shelves, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that both of these are going to be sold out until
Dude,
the next batch gets made. So
that's exactly what they did in 2013 with the PS4. And the funny thing was, we sold out of Xbox One as well, but like the word through the pipeline and stuff was like Sony was saying like, look how popular it is, and stuff like that. We're trying to fill the stores up with more as soon as possible. We know you guys want it, and like it was really kind of they're hyping it up that way. Where Xbox was just like, we'll get it there. Like that was it.
it's all about that messaging.
Yeah.
Leo, what do you think about this? Leo?
I've always just seen it as that they do it on purpose, like just to get the hype up, to get people to buy it as soon as possible. And I'm sure they have way more than that made already.
Okay. So you're thinking that maybe they allowed somebody to leak like this kind of like false report a little bit, or set it to somebody intentionally just to create more demand for the system on launch?
Yeah, even though, like, if you look at how many people are talking about each system, Xbox or PlayStation, everyone's going to be buying the crap out of them. But it's like how they did with the Switch. I mean, how hard was it to get a Switch when it first launched?
Okay.
Hey, incredibly hard. And me and O Snaps, I remember waiting outside of GameStop to get one. Yeah, she did
It's
get hers. She got hers though.
it's
And
still
look at
pretty hard to get.
Mario All Stars you were just talking about. They limited that to how many copies, and now it's going for over $100 on eBay and shit.
Yeah. Yep.
If you ever want to make extra money, just look at the newest thing that Nintendo is coming out. Do your best to get your hands on it, and then sell it secondhand on the internet.
Unless it's made of cardboard.
And
I
you gotta,
can't
you,
believe they sold
you,
cardboard to people.
you
People
gotta look
bought
at
it.
also.
I laughed so hard when they revealed that. I was shocked at first and then just started laughing.
You gotta
Let's
look
get
at
that
also
Nintendo
like
VR.
Yo,
you also gotta look at the like the totem pole of news, right? I mean, Bloomberg is more of an internet site, but Sony is more of a television conglomerate when it comes to news. So that news about them being, sold out, supply and demand, is going to hit TVs where the casuals are watching rather than the internet where people don't really follow gaming news.
Oh, and also like what Nuke just said, the NES Classic. That thing was. It took forever for him to get a hold of that one.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I mean there was a big demand for that NES Classic, and even the Super NES Classic I think was produced a little bit more. That
Yeah,
became valuable shortly after,
those things
and
were going for like $400 or $500.
yeah, and even now the Generation One Switches, the first ones that came out, I checked them on eBay just because they were the ones that had the exploit available in the NVIDIA chipset. They're going for like $500-600. I'm like, oh my goodness, like seriously? People are going insane for this kind of stuff, and the latest Nintendo stuff. I mean, it's still hard to get a Switch at certain places in certain areas and certain retailers. So, Nintendo's really got the market cornered on getting people into the supply and demand thought process.
they're masters
Shady, if
at
you
it.
ask me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is. But when it comes to these companies, at the end of the day, none of these companies. I mean, they're the thing that they care about most is profits. So many people are out there like, oh, this one cares about the customer, and this one. No, it's basically who does the least amount of grimy stuff to their consumers. That's basically that's what it comes down to. But if these companies, and I'm talking all these companies, if they can get away with certain things like that, they will. They will. When it comes to Microsoft and Xbox, and like Clown said, I prefer to game on Xbox, but I will not look over the fact that they would do something like that. Right now, they're in a whole thing of gaining mind share. So they wanna seem as pro consumer as possible. Like even Game Pass, which I absolutely love. People are like, "Oh, that's so pro consumer," but it fits their agenda because down the line, and I think Sony wants to do this too. They're just going about it differently. They want everybody on a streaming service subscription. Like if they can like weed out the research and development when it comes to the hardware and the manufacturing costs when it comes to consoles and still make the money where they make the money, which is basically the games and now games and services, uh that's what they'll do. So like everybody's like, oh, they're being so pro consumer, and yeah, it's a great deal, But don't think that they're not looking at the bigger picture and looking down the road and slowly adopting people into a subscription service, and with xCloud into a streaming service when it comes to their games, because that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, some interesting thoughts there on this. I was just reading the chat, and I don't know what Supersonic's talking about, but something about air freight and something on
He's
boats.
drunk, by the way.
Oh, is he? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm lost on what he's talking about.
He said about 5 times in the chat that he's like, I'm drunk. Even Daz was like, yeah, we heard you. Supersonic Game Pass.
You know, that's something I want to go into real quick, is this Game Pass Ultimate. I kind of skipped over it to get into the Sony topic, but basically Xbox officially launched their cloud app. And I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say as I would like to say on this, because we've all talked about it when it was in beta anyway previously. But I just think it's really cool that 150 games are in it at launch. I think it's really cool that they're doing controls on certain games like Minecraft Dungeons. They're trying to add it in for people. I think that's definitely a positive. And I just want to go through the panel and get your thoughts on this. Like, is
the Minecraft Dungeons, are you talking like on-screen controls for people who don't like want to use a control? Yeah, dude, they actually they talked about that like months ago in terms of incorporating on-screen for people who what was the name of that, the Kishi or whatnot, that peripheral that you kind of put onto your phone,
or
Rikishi or something. But for people who don't want to like put their controller on it or put any type of hardware that caters to being a controller on your phone, yeah, they were talking about that a while ago. It's good to see that like that's coming to fruition.
VJ, I know that you are analytical. What do you think about this approach to cloud gaming and Xbox really pushing it first, in a sense, on a mass level? VJ, you there?
VJ!
Yo, V!
Hope he's all right. I think
Ooh, pick me.
ooh.
All right, to the midway with his hand up in the air. What are your thoughts on this?
Awesome. This is just another part of the grand scheme. I'm gonna take a line from Xbot and say, Stadia who?
I like it.
I think, yeah. I think
just joined Stadia like last week.
Ooh, but buyer's remorse?
Am I back?
No, I just wanted to play Destiny 2, and I didn't want to download it off Steam.
Leo!
Free trial, so I could just play it right away.
Can you hear me?
So,
yeah, I can hear you, VJ.
Okay, great. Sorry.
Okay. So I think, 150 games is awesome. To play like AAA titles on it, you'll probably definitely have to get like the Razer Kishi to enjoy it. Otherwise, I just got Ultimate the other day, especially because the EA Play. I've never played a Dragon Age, so I definitely want to get into that. So it would definitely be good for your platformers, your side scrollers, your smaller titles, like indie titles that you can enjoy on the go.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, gaming on the go fits, kind of like my lifestyle, because unfortunately I have to go to a lot of different appointments. So it's good to have something with me in my pocket if I'm bored sitting in a waiting room, and I could just, pull it out and play it. So kind of excited about it. I think we lost somebody, and they came back. VJ, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Do it.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. So
Okay,
I want to go to you on this, VJ, because I know you're analytical. And I want to get your perspective on this mass push by Microsoft for cloud gaming.
So I just want to apologize in advance, just in case I repeat something that's already been covered today or previously, right? Because I haven't. Anyway, we know that Xbox continuing to sort of demonstrate and market the value and the benefits of an all-digital, how can I put it, buffet playground, right, in Game Pass. So I was thinking xCloud can't just be a convenient and sort of luxurious way, right, for Xbox gamers to enjoy hundreds of games now, right, on the go.
I think they officially announced 150 on their press release.
Got it. Sorry, I was sort of dovetailing in EA Play. I'm assuming that's going to come to xCloud as well. Anyway, so either gamers are going to enjoy those on the go or in the water closet, right? So the water closet obviously being the washroom. The infrastructure and latency is still not at optimum levels as far as I can tell, and at the moment, so it's not always going to be an ideal way to play all the great games that Xbox has to offer. And also, like, when I was thinking about it, like, just take the Switch. Zelda Breath of the Wild on a big screen with a pro controller is the way I prefer to play that game. But if I'm on my handheld and I'm on the go, it's not as how can I say, entertaining, where it's more difficult to experience. But on the other hand, something like Link's Awakening, right, that's much more suited to a handheld experience if I'm out and about. Now, given the latency issues, how does xCloud dovetail into the overall sort of Xbox gaming ecosystem, and what are the important strategies and objectives, and what's the real play here for Xbox, right? Other than just kind of just putting this out there. So at the moment, Game Pass is sort of like an all-inclusive invitation, right? And it's going to be put out into 22 different countries. So it's going to be, obviously, the most important thing from that aspect is that it's definitely going to expand the much needed and awareness, right, of the Xbox brand globally outside of the US, right? Which I think right now it's been taking a hammering, so they've got to do something about that. But with Game Pass being accessible now via handheld devices, whether it's tablets or mobile phones, for a few months, and I think in Seoul via SK Telecom and Samsung, is going to be free, right, with the new N20 device. And I think SK Telecom are offering up to 3 months of free of charge of Game Pass Ultimate. This is going to serve, I think, as a fantastic test bed, and everything that Xbox is going to learn from it. And this is going to help them to tap into a section of the public that may not usually play console games or have stayed away from them for one reason or another. So I don't know all of the xCloud initiatives and how they've been tailored for the 20 other countries, because I don't just think they've just said, oh, let's roll it out. I'm certain there's going to be sort of specifically tailored initiatives for each of those territories. Many mobile device units out there, right, that are going to subscribe to Game Pass may even, which I think is that they may even go on to adopt an Xbox system into their homes, right? And how that initial engagement, right, converts, and what Xbox do to make it happen in order to create subscriptions out of those people that test it, or actually go and buy a hardware system. They need to let them know and keep in mind that they don't have to go out and spend several $100s, right? So I think obviously sort of getting the message out to all of those users that the fact that, look, not only are you thinking about paying $12 to $15, right, in terms of subscribing to access all these games on your phone, but for an additional $10, you can own an actual system, right, improving the gaming experience in terms of anything that's affecting them due to latency. And for me, that's like an incredibly cheap, good-looking dongle at this stage, right? Because that's what all these consoles are becoming, right, in the long-term future. So I know that also is that how do they tailor the experiences, right, that pop up on your screen, right, when you're playing these games, right? There's no point in putting up Gears of War or something like that, which is not easily playable on the phone. So I'm just wondering if they're tailoring or curating the games that pop up, right, on the screen for people to play and get addicted to, and so on and so forth. I know all these may sound like small ticket items, but I think as a package, it definitely builds up. And I think overall, in my opinion, if the xCloud initiative, whoever's running it, is executed well, it definitely serves as another gateway to potentially selling much more Series S systems and potentially X systems, right? Because obviously in Asia, not everybody wants a big bulky system, right? The PS5 looks pretty hefty. The Xbox Series X is not small. So I think S, from migrating from as a mobile gamer to S, I think is kind of seems to me like the more obvious step going forward. But just to understand how important xCloud is in relation to the Asian countries and how far the Xbox brand has fallen behind, you only have to look at Xbox One. I saw some recent numbers, official numbers, that it's only sold around 125,000 units in Japan over its lifespan. And that's a big drop when you compare it to the reported number of 1.5 million Xbox 360s that were sold, in the previous gen. But even though a lot of Xbox plans are unknown to us, I think that with xCloud and with all the other initiatives that they've got in place, they're in a really good position this time around to eclipse the 45 million, is it 48.5 or 48 million Xbox Ones that they've already sold.
Yo, I gotta say, I am a huge VJ fan now. Dude, that the answers that I have heard from you, I don't know where you Clowns, where did you get this guy? He is absolutely brilliant when it comes to topics like this. And VJ, I just want to say real quick, hearing you talk and talk about, getting the 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate and offering Game Pass Ultimate to the companies that were doing that and stuff, it made me think that Xbox is finally a part of Microsoft, because when they first started, our buddy Mr. Gates, he was a little reluctant about it, and they had some success with the hardcore with the OG Xbox, and the 360 kind of blew up, and they tried to commercialize it a bit too much towards the end when it came to the Kinect. They just made total focus on the Kinect when they should have been focusing on both. But hearing what you were saying about that tells me, like, Microsoft back in the day, they basically came out and they took over the PC operating system. And to me, it sounds like they're doing that in gaming right now. A lot of people talk a lot of crap about what they're doing and how certain things are catering to the casuals, but we all know the casual market is the biggest market out there. And if you're going to take something over in Windows fashion, and again, I say this because I am not a fanboy. I prefer to play on the platform, but I will call it like I see it. And brother, the way you laid it out, it just sounds like Xbox, welcome to Microsoft, because that's something that Microsoft is known to do in the avenues that they are in.
So I think that's leads into a really important point that I can make, if you don't mind, Clowns, because I'd like to. Yeah. So the point that you've made there is a really valid one, if I may say so, sir. Because Xbox, in particular, right now, via Xbox All Access, is going to make next-gen console ownership much more accessible, and perhaps dual console ownership the norm going forward. I know everyone is talking about the Xbox Series X and the S and the X and the pricing and the valuing it offers and all the games that it offers. But if I hit on the point that you were making about Microsoft inviting Xbox in, I would like to look at that, because the Xbox strategy and how they plan to grow the gaming industry as a whole, I think is something that they've definitely sat down and looked at. Because if you look at Microsoft right now, Microsoft Office has about 220 million subs, each paying about $100 per annum each, and 40 million of those are consumers. That division though is somewhat plateauing in terms of its growth. So Microsoft corporate, if I can say that, want the Xbox division to replicate the success and the business model as closely as possible. Most importantly, the model, if they incorporate this and get it right, what does it do? It brings predictable revenues and profits. That's what it does, because subscriptions are effectively akin to a virtual cash register, if I can put it this way. So everyone's saying Xbox has come out of the gate, they're doing something fantastic, something new. No, they're being smart. Xbox are looking to get back in the game, leveraging and employing tactics successfully employed already by Microsoft Office. They've seen where it goes right, where it goes wrong, how to maximize. That's all they're doing, right? They've got all that resource, all that knowledge. But also you've got to look at where Xbox is coming from. They really took a hammering, right? They have no choice. They had no choice but to come out of adversity and disrupt the status quo and radicalize the industry, especially since they're currently in third place, right? So they've got 15 first-party studios, right, which should provide exclusive games and software. A few things that, might be as essential as Office or Word, because I don't think Game Pass is the finished article. When actually Microsoft's a good example, because it is akin to missing one or two of those programs, right? And if not, one of those studios is hopefully will produce a critical hit, right, as well. So, and the beauty of it, obviously, we all know these things. I don't really go on to that too much, but the fact that they're coming in day and day at no additional cost. It's not that it's free. What we as gamers should be looking at, that's our subscription dollars at work, right? So to speak, right? And then adding the service like EA Play to Game Pass at no additional cost for the moment, right? Because obviously you have to look at the Netflix model, right? Because, and I've mentioned this before on Boom's channel, where over the last 7 or 8 years they've increased the price very minimally, right? Not to sort of like raise too much of an eyebrow, but about 66%. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, because right now everyone is seeing Game Pass Ultimate. Okay, I can play the games on the go. I can go and get an S or an X on a subscription model. And all of this, what is it doing from a marketing and PR perspective? It's leaving most gamers starstruck, right? And I'm not saying that those incremental increases are good or bad, because if they only ever reach 15 or 20 million subscribers and it doesn't grow, then they'll have to continue to provide that service to us, right? It's when it starts hitting 40 or 50 million is when you got to look at, and they start making these really big reports of saying, hang on, guys, what's going on here, right? Are you going to charging us or not, right? So anyway, I'll leave it there. I've got loads more to say, but I think we're probably going to need to carry on with the show. Sorry.
Hey, clowns, you better pay this guy.
Yo, for real.
Put this podcast. He's going to put this podcast on his resume at CNN Business, I swear.
Woo!
I gotta say this. I mean, VJ brings excellent analytical points into conversations, and it's just mind-blowing. Every time I listen to him, he brings up so many points that I could never even think of, between his experience and what he knows. If you guys hear any background noise, I got some family over, but the stream should not hear it because I got a noise gate. I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Xbox says hi.
Hi, little clowns.
No response, Midway. There's no response.
You have a clown car wherever they go somewhere.
Whenever they go, like 80 of them come out one at a time.
You know,
sorry.
That's okay.
Just a quick point. So if you just want to have a quick look at Microsoft plan, right? It's got multiple entry points, systems and avenues to market. It's got a wide variety of games of all different genres to entice mobile gamers, casual gamers, because I don't think they're the same. I think there is a distinction because one focuses on mobile, one focuses on console. And then you've got the high-end target software, right, for the Xbox Series X. So it's catering for everybody. So it's a very wide, very broad approach, an attack on the existing sort of sort of market leaders, shall we say, who will at some point respond, but they're Japanese companies and they're very conservative, and they are in a position where they are currently sitting back and as backbenchers and watching what happens. But there will come a point when it's not going to be Xbox is better or Sony is better. There will become how can I put it, converging points where they'll take the best of what each other is doing, right, and flick a switch. And that is no one can predict whether it's in a year, 18 months, 2 years, 5 years. But I will tell you something interesting. Microsoft is pushing towards, and I'm talking about the virtual cash register, they are pushing towards completely going digital already in Japan. They've taken out their distributor, and there are no retail facings for their games. It's all digital already. So normally what happens over in Japan, this is what I'm saying, Seoul and Korea and SK Telecom and Samsung, that test bed there is really important right now, because that will define more initiatives and strategies and how they roll out to the rest of the Asian territories, right? But anyway, I'll just stop there, just so we can carry on.
Yeah, well, just real. Oh, my bad. I just want to say one thing to VJ real quick. In comparison with Sony and what they're gonna do and that whole convergence, I think if you look at Sony did a bunch of hiring for PlayStation Now, and we haven't seen anything kind of like come out of that. Nothing come to fruition yet with that. They did change it up a little bit. They did model PlayStation Now more towards a Game Pass type thing where you can download the games on console. Right. I think they made it cheaper or whatnot. What I think is going on here, again, I think that Xbox / Microsoft and PlayStation / Sony, I think they want to go in the long term to the same place. And I think Sony, what they're going to do, they're more conservative. I think they're taking baby steps forward, where Microsoft is taking like I don't want to say giant leaps, but because they started earlier, they realized what was going on this generation, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna retool, build up, and come out basically swinging. And but I think Sony's going in the same direction, and you're going to see more from PlayStation now. You're going to see more evolution. You're going to see more accessibility, stuff like that down the road. But they're just taking more, like you said, they're more conservative, and they're like taking baby steps in that direction.
That's a really good point you just made there, because when I look at Sony, right, they're straddling right between the Xbox business model and the Nintendo business model. So we've spoken about Microsoft, but if you go to the other extreme of Nintendo, right, what have they done in the last 7 years is astonishing. Not only have they released 2 console systems, one that almost destroyed them, causing them $500 million or $1 billion of losses every quarter. Then they go out in 2017, launch another system, which has barely sold 50 million units, half as many of Sony. But what have they done in addition, right? They've used their brands, the ones that they sort of strategically market and license, like Disney do, right, to make sure that they're household. But they've then gone on and sold 200 million units of first-party software, 50% of which have been sold digitally, right? So they may be looking, but right now they're firmly cemented in their business model, right? And then you've got Xbox on the other extreme, and you've got Sony kind of straddling in the middle. But because they've spent 20 years, right, building up their IPs and brands and so on and so forth. They're nowhere near as impactful or as fantastic as the ones Nintendo have, but they're far better than what Xbox have got. So Xbox know it takes time, but what they've done is that they've said, you know what, we'll go wider and broader, right? And if we need some blockbuster titles, we might make some internally, because no studio is guaranteed to make them, right? Even Sony studios have had peaks and troughs. And look at the Santa Monica studio, right? Had David Jaffe there and Cory Barra. They'd God of War 1, God of War 2, 3, and then Ascension was, Then they were sort of like drifting, making a couple of, what was that? I've forgotten the name of that game, which was like an indie title, right? And then Corey left and then came back, and the rest is history, right? So no studio is preordained to make a massive hit. And this is why I try to keep my eye out, right? Where is the next Mass Effect coming from? Because it could come from Nintendo, could come from Sony, may very well come from Microsoft.
Wow.
VJ, every time I listen to you, man, like I'm learning new stuff.
I could talk to him forever, man. Like, I really could. Yeah.
Real quick though, I want to get Leo's input on this cloud gaming stuff. I know.
Can I say that he hasn't?
I mean, that's so true.
Will I get into it? No, because I don't care for the cloud gaming. If I'm going to play a game, I'm going to play it on my Xbox or my PC. I mean, I prefer to have like a keyboard, mouse, or a controller, and I don't want it on like a little phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I can understand that for sure. Well, wow, we're already past the hour mark, and that's unusual for four guys. But I do want to go into.
Can I just point something out real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to point something that kind of got in my mind when VJ was talking about like how like digital is pretty much for digital, and like cloud gaming is pretty much for like the Japan and all that area over there. But one thing that I did notice was how Xbox in 2013 wanted to do that DRM thing. You use your disc once, you can only use it for that system. You can't use it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was highly frowned upon. But now, since digital is pretty much starting to take over, check your local Best Buy, because now they have these little digital codes in actual cases.
Like you buy the actual case, go home with the code. Like
it is literally probably about 40% the size of a Blu-ray Xbox case, and it just has the digital code on there.
Dude, that is crazy. Yo, times are changing. Yeah. And the funny thing is about that, bro, is that when it comes to Microsoft as a corporation, they always thought ahead, and a lot of their products, it was too far ahead. Like, people didn't adopt it at that point in time. Like, they saw where the future was going, and they tried to get there first. They just got there too soon. And for some rhyme or reason, kind of like the consumer base that was out there for whatever product, it never really caught on. So and that's what I think that's what kind of happened when it came to the Xbox One in 2013, because I was down for that all digital system. You know, they're talking about family share, all that good stuff. Like I that's what convinced me to go in on Xbox One, and then they did a complete 180. But yeah, dude, it's crazy how times change, because now, you know, you look at how many people are buying only digital games and how much that has increased. You know, nobody is screaming about DRM for anything anymore, and there's DRM in everything right now. And
Do you know what? Do you know why, Mr. Xbot? Because in 2013, right, and you got to look at the human nature of this, right? Humans don't like to be told what to do, right? And the dictatorial messaging that came across from Microsoft, it wasn't arrogance. It was just the way the messaging was constructed. It was forcing us, dragging us, taking us somewhere unknown where we didn't want to be taken. The difference this time around is like they realized most human beings are sheep. So what they're doing, they're building something and enticing us and leading us towards something which may, for them, is they're designing and saying, hey, come to us, we're a gaming utopia, right? And so on and so forth. So there's a really subtle but different, like kind of different ideology, right, at Microsoft, and they've obviously learned, right? There's no science behind that, right? Yep. So I think that's definitely the key. And so why would you then say, okay, I want to go digital? Okay, maybe you like convenience, but maybe, you know, nobody collects DVDs anymore. Well, not everybody, people still do, but I think that some of the features, and I don't know all of them, but one of the features that really entices me is that quick switch resume, that quality of life feature, that I don't have to get up and I can resume games quickly from one game to the other, given how many games there are right now. To me, that's like, okay, I'm going to kind of maybe probably just move away from physical. It's just not going to give me the full feature and functionality set of this new system. So I'm going to make that jump. So those features are important. I don't know what others there are. Maybe there's a home button and you can order your favorite pizza. I have no idea. But I think that those are a couple of comments I just wanted to bolt on, if I may.
Brother, it's called the Betty Crocker effect, dude. I don't know if you know about that.
Betty Midler, did you say?
Huh?
Did you say Betty Midler?
Betty Crocker, the cake mix company. The cake mix company. When you talk about leading people and stuff like that, and just that, it's going to be real quick, Clowns, I swear. Betty Crocker, when they first came out with cake mix, it was around the 50s, and it was a point in time where society, women were like really proud of being, you know, stay-at-home moms and cooking and preparing dinners and stuff like that. And Betty Crocker came around with this cake mix that was just basically put in water, stir it up, you know, put it in a pan and bake it, and it flopped. Absolutely flopped. And so Betty Crocker actually recalled all those cake mixes and went back to the table, and they're like, you know what? Instead of doing that, like we got to do something here. And what they did was, in the instructions, they added to a raw egg, making the at-home mom at that point in time feel like she was doing something more than just putting water into a cake mix. And that's pretty much it mirrors it. I took graphic design and marketing in school, and that was one of the first things like we were taught was what happened with the whole Betty Crocker thing, and you see it play out time and time again, and that's exactly what happened with digital.
Yeah,
it's the easiest thing. That don't even say anything, just slowly roll it out there and just see what happens. I bet you $10 a lot of people will be a lot more smoothly thinking, oh, this is what I have to do. Great.
Well, I mean, you remember in the 360 generation with games on demand, it definitely wasn't as popular as owning a disc, because it felt like the disc, you know, it was faster to load. People didn't want to download the digital games and whatnot. And a lot of people don't realize, but VJ alluded to this already, is that a lot of companies have already loved DRM. They want to be able to control their IPs, and digital is a perfect way to do it, because they know that it's harder to copy something that is digital or streamed, and they sell it to us as convenience, faster load times, you don't have to get up, and we see that with streaming services with music today too, and this generation of kids, like, My daughter, she loves her iTunes. She loves Spotify. You know, she loves all these things where she doesn't have to get up to put something in. And little does she realize that's all DRM. That's all DRM controlled from a server that she basically just rents the rights to listen to it.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. And you know, the wallet is, and I know probably with you know, your daughter or whatnot, the wallet might be closer, but that's what, you know, a lot of these companies are thinking. The wallet is going to pass on to the generation that thinks that way. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know the 12-year-olds growing up, when it comes to gaming on smaller screens, like, they don't have a problem with it because they were gaming on small screens from the time they were little. And that consumer wallet is going to be handed to those generations moving forward. And these companies want to be the first in line for that generation and cater to them, kind of like what they're used to as well.
Yeah,
Just look
and
at what just look at like your streaming services now, like Spotify, and then you got Game Pass, and then you got you know, like movies and stuff. Like, you got to think, like, what is the most used and what is easier to do. So like Spotify, it's $10 a month. I'll stream. You know, movies. You know that they're everywhere. You got movies dating all the way back. You know, to God knows when. And okay, let me get Disney Plus. And then video games, now that they're getting better and even more detailed and, you know, wider audience, it is really the last thing to get more comfortable having that service, the service, but not to own, you know.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
yeah, there's something I wanted to add to that, but I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
That's not your fault. It's my fault for laughing at what Wilmy said in the chat. It cracked me up.
Yeah, I started cracking up.
Wow.
I'm all shook up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, that thing,
Literally.
that thing that Husk is working will shake you up. So I'll just go ahead into the last topic before we get out of here, and if I remember, I'll say it. Oh, that's what it was. Xbot was saying pass the wallet on, you know, the generation kind of thing. And I was on a podcast. I don't remember whose it was. It might have been Game Beyond the Box where somebody said this, but they said that basically that games today are not being marketed, you know, to us guys that are like 30s and 40s and 50s and whatnot. It's being marketed to the younger generation, like the 10, 12, 15, 20, 25-year-olds. And I think that's so true with this ease of access, this digital gaming on the go on your phone, which will be big in Asia. I know Supersonic in the chat disagrees with this, but I think in Asia, you know, gaming portable has always been huge, especially with DS. The Vitas are still popular in some areas over there. So I think that gaming on your phone is a way for Xbox to get in that market in case somebody doesn't go out and buy the console. They get it on the phone, and then if they like it, they go out and get the console, and they can get, you know, Game Pass Ultimate on the console. So it's kind of like what VJ says, it will cross-sell itself in some aspects there. So it's just a smart move.
Yeah, Asia's huge with mobile and PC.
They are marketing to the generations that have been groomed for this. And
yes,
you know, when you look at what companies do, they put out new technologies. They're grooming the younger generation to be the consumer and to want what they have. It's something that has been done for God knows how long. And you know, just because we got more technical, the root of marketing is very old. You know, it tried and true processes are still used in the majority to this day, and that's what they do. They groom the younger generation into being the next consumer that wants what they have.
Yep. And it's working. I mean, it is definitely working. And we see that with everybody, you know, saying that Xbox has been extremely consumer friendly. And like you guys alluded to on the panel, it's not necessarily that they're trying to be consumer friendly, it's that they're trying to offer something that they know has been groomed to this generation growing up. So it seems consumer friendly. but they're still selling a product and they're doing it in a smart way. It's unnoticeable almost in a sense.
This is such a great conversation, man. No fanboyism or anything like that. Just absolute common sense from everybody on the panel. Clowns, thank you for having me on tonight, bro.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get into the next topic because this is something that Leo has and everybody wants it. I will say everybody wants this, Leo. Don't let them take it from you. It is Borderlands 3. So I just I saw an article today.
I mean, I'll fight for it if I have to.
You can have it.
So I saw an article today that Borderlands 3 is offering a free next-gen upgrade. I think that's really cool because they've sold us remasters in the past with Borderlands 1 Game of the Year, and then the Borderlands 2 the Borderlands Handsome Collection. I mean, they sold so many remasters to us, and us Borderlands fans, we just ate it and bought it anyway. So that the fact that they're offering free next-gen upgrades is mind-blowing to me. I think this is really cool. It's along the lines of like what CD Projekt Red's doing, what the developers of Dirt are doing. So next gen on PS5 and next gen Xbox is going to run at 60 frames per second 4K. New skill trees are coming. You'll be able to have 4 players split screen locally, and if you do 2 players locally, you can choose a vertical or horizontal type of screen. I think this is really fantastic news going to next generation. I feel confident because, like Leo, I own this on just about every platform, like PlayStation 4, the Xbox One X. So I am excited that I'm going to get this next gen upgrade on both these iterations of consoles. And VJ, you've been bringing up points like fire points after fire after fire. So from an analytical standpoint, I want to go to you real quick because you have some experience in the industry and whatnot. What do you think about this?
I was actually going to abstain from answering this question because, I have played Borderlands. I think the Borderlands 1 and 2 were on the PlayStation Plus, so I had a quick go. And of course, initiatives like this are really, really good. I haven't had a chance to look at the article or assess the game when it came out. Why are they doing it? Is it a strategic move? Is it to keep it in the public limelight? Are they making money through microtransactions? Because I don't know enough about the game, so it's really difficult to answer. But those are the things that I'd have looked into first, and then to be able to give you a proper answer. But of course, any publisher or any developer that is giving you a free upgrade and not charging you, right, it is always a very good form of goodwill. And that's probably about as much as I can sort of impart, right, at this point in terms of firing or burning narrative. So I think hopefully our panel members can contribute a lot more than I can.
You brought up the microtransaction aspect of it, and there is a little bit of legitimacy to that because I will say that, if you have Borderlands 3 right now, right, but you don't have the Season Pass or the DLC, it's an incentive to basically go ahead and add that onto it because next gen, that's getting a free upgrade. So it's an extra selling point for them to say, hey, you know what, you didn't buy our DLC or Season Pass, so guess what? Now if you do it, you're going to upgrade it for free next gen.
So you can't get it if you haven't got the DLC or the Battle Pass. If you haven't got it, you can't upgrade.
No, you can. The Borderlands 3 will still be upgraded, but you wouldn't get the DLC. You can buy it now, and it'll be free. Upgraded next gen. So
understood.
Leo, you're a fellow Borderlands fan on the panel. We probably should get matching tattoos of Borderlands and the Krieg DLC. So what do you think about this, man?
Okay, the way I see it is that they're just going to keep on they're like doing the another DLCs because the season pass just ended last week. It's coming later this year, and I think the way they're going to do it is they're going to offer another season pass because they're going as a live service without saying it. I think that's how you say it, right? Live service game.
Yep.
Okay.
Games as a service.
Basically, I think they're going to move on to the next gen and just add another season pass, more DLC, and also they have a lot of free events that you can do to earn like swag and better loot. Because what was it? The Mafia one, I still use guns from that one, and that was a couple months ago that they had that.
Okay.
And I think the DLC that's coming out later this year is basically the midway point before they announce that they're going to have another season pass. And also, if you go with microtransaction, Borderlands 2 on the 360 and PS3, holy crap, there was so much DLC you could buy for that, including
Oh,
costumes
yeah.
and the normal DLC, and then the bounty hunter missions, and then also you did not get the level cap increases with the DLC. You had to buy that separate too on Borderlands 2.
Ooh,
Yeah.
they better put that together.
Oh, it's already in there. It's with the DLC, luckily.
Okay.
Because they just maxed it out at 65, which
Hey, Leo.
with them adding a new skill tree, I think they're going to add more levels. That's the way I see it, because people are gonna want 3 capstones, and I'm sure they're going to add to it, because you don't want to screw up your order with what you have already with this new skill tree coming in. I mean, people will try it, but unless it's really, really good, they're not going to, separate from the skill trees they already got invested in.
Yo, Leo, for some reason, the process that you just explained to everybody, for me as a gamer, just seems so familiar. I don't know why.
Well, Borderlands been around for a while. I mean, first
Dude, I'm a
came out in
Destiny 2 player. Let's be real. Like,
Borderlands was first. Sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that, Xbox.
are you though? Why? Because
But I have Xbox. I got into Destiny 2, so I mean,
Well-
I haven't played it in a while, but
I mean,
find Borderlands enjoyable.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to convert Xbox to Marvel's Avengers.
I want to use Incredible Hulk stunt double. That actually Incredible Hulk is probably the one that looks most like Incredible Hulk. But nah, this is good. This is definitely good news for Borderlands fans. Like Borderlands 3. I agree with Leo. They're just gonna keep on adding content, season passes, stuff like that. It's something that I have gotten accustomed to with one of the games I do like to play, even though for some reason people in our community like to do all over it. It's still awesome to look around the corner and to see new content, new pickups for drops, new in my case with Destiny, new exotics, new subclasses for supers and stuff like that. And it's a model that Bungie, when it comes to D2, and I know we're talking about Borderlands 3, but I'm comparing right now. Bungie is living by being both the publisher and the developer of the Destiny Destiny 2 anyway. And it's good for the fans of that, and it's something that I believe 343 is gonna do kind of when it comes to Halo Infinite.
Borderlands, you bring Destiny and Halo, and man,
because you know what, it's funny. A lot of developers and a lot of publishers are realizing now that you don't need a higher number next to your game title in order for people to keep playing. Like, you don't automatically have to make a sequel. You can make content and add it to the game, and people will come back. People who beat the game and then got tired of it will actually come back and start playing it with DLC, with season passes, with new stories and new things to grind for. And you're seeing more and more of these developers and publishers actually going that route with their games.
Oh, also on the Borderlands thing, I think they are going to make another Wall Hunter too. Maybe 2 of them.
Oh, nice. That would be really cool.
Things. Don't get hyped.
Like, when they first talked about it, they said there's only going to be the 4, but I have a feeling that they're going to do it to get people back in.
Well, guys, you heard it first here. Rumors are now going to start across the internet. It's going to be picked up by everybody at IGN and Forbes. Thanks to Leo.
So much hate mail coming my way then.
Midway, what do you think about this? I know that you expressed that you are not you're not a Borderlands fan to some extent. So
Jesus.
I would say, like, I don't hate it, but it's when I try to get into it, life just took over and I never really got back. It's a great thing that they're upgrading everything to the next gen. So when I get the next gen console, the games will look better when I try it up again.
Are you one of the types that prefer like just normal weapons?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, okay. Because I have a few friends like that where they like just like a normal gun. You know what I mean? No special abilities, nothing like that. Just a gun, bullets, boom, done.
Yo, Leo, that was so funny because when you said it sounded like you're like, are you one of those people? Are you
I
one of
wasn't
those
thinking it that
people?
way. Nothing against Midway. I mean, everyone has their taste. I mean,
No, I got
each
you,
of them.
brother. It's all fun, bro. It's all fun. Whenever I say something like that, like I don't mean it seriously or anything, but like that's what I heard when you said that. I'm like, are you one of those people? You just like the standard weaponry? You don't want powers? Like,
Like a oh my god.
How dare you, sir? My establishment. Talking your nonsense. You one of
oh
them
no.
people.
I am not claiming that I started that at all.
You did.
No.
Leonidas, the
Timestamp.
Borderlands.
Timestamp.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and find the timestamp on that. If anybody has questions in the chat, feel free to drop them. I know Supersonic Station said that he loves mayonnaise because he said all hail Sonic right after that, so I guess that's confirming that.
Other beans, I can't get over that.
Yeah, you liked it. Do you guys like that little thing that I made for the chat? I made it.
That is awesome, dude. I couldn't even tell that like you made it. I thought it was just a
Yeah, I thought that was a YouTube thing.
yeah.
No, I made it.
It should be a YouTube thing.
I'm glad it's mayo. I don't want Cool Whip.
It does kind of look like something you'd find in the original Zelda. You know what I mean? Mayo. Wait, what?
I think in the UK they have something called salad cream, which is kind of weird. VJ
heard that on this channel.
Miracle Whip, basically, for us.
Salad cream makes me throw up.
Okay, so it is bad. Okay.
A salad. It's nasty.
Ask Mr. Tushi or UK Dazzlers. They could give you a different opinion.
Just the name.
I have a question, Clowns.
With their Vegemite, I think that's how you say it.
Sure, go ahead, Midway.
So I have a question for VJ. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Okay. You have all this great insight, all this information that definitely was beneficial to today's podcast. But how do you not know the great Xbot 448?
Oh no. Basically, I'll be honest. I'll actually give you an honest answer. I sort of kept away from social media. I only recently joined, I think in June or July, because when I sent Mr. Boom an email message to ask if I could appear on one of his shows, and then I had a chat with him, and he said, "Look, it might be important to have a social media presence." So I joined. So I haven't really been on social media for very long, and I only know very few people. So, but slowly but surely, week by week, I'm meeting people in the community. So, but what I will say, I didn't know you, but you may have noticed that Xbot, Mr. Xbot 448 and Leonatis, I've given you both a follow while we've been on this very podcast.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Nice.
Every time I see Xbot and I'm in like the same panel or anything, I'm like, who? I'm talking to him for a while now, and his wife or girlfriend or whatever that is.
Whatever that is. You know what? I'm not even gonna humor you with an answer right now.
You know why he's not gonna
touch that one?
You know why he's not gonna humor you, Leo? Is because he might get tased.
Oh my goodness, dude! I have fought off the taser so far. So far, I have not gotten tased. So
you're snap. Get the taser.
No.
If he goes down on this podcast, somebody better call 911.
That almost sounded like Bubba Ray Dudley. Get the taser.
Yeah.
You know, I like Dred's question in the chat. More importantly, how does Xbot 448 not know who VJ is. And trust me, dude, like, yo, the entire panel, this entire show has been absolutely amazing. And for me not knowing who VJ is, because I know who Midway Monster is. I know who Leo is. I've talked to Leo on Gaming Beyond the Box as well. VJ just came out of left field on me and dropped some bombs today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a VJ fan now. Hardcore. That's it. Nothing else to be said there.
I think he needs a fan club. VJ needs a fan club.
I'll start it. I'm already the ultimate Dreadite. I could have like a side job, you know, VJ fan club as well. So
not only are you the president, but you're a member.
I'm also a client. When I need to learn something about the business, VJ, I gotta introduce you to Predator. Oh my goodness, I can imagine the conversations you two would have.
Oh, speaking of which, I should get Predator on the panel one week with VJ too.
Oh yeah. You know what? I won't even introduce them until that happens. I'll let the introduction and everything happen right here on Four Guys.
Should I get K Meg on that one too, or the Don?
Go nuts. Go both.
Ooh.
That's getting risky, Midway. That is getting risky.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just on the first leg of our tour.
Yeah.
Of our tour of Xbox podcast stars.
Oh, somebody took a picture.
Yeah, I know. I heard that screenshot. What's up?
Oh no, it was just me. I was just having a look at this Venture Beat. Venture
No
Beat.
pictures, please.
Yeah, there was just an article there, and I didn't want to lose it, and my computer's been playing up, so sorry.
Oh, that's okay, VJ. I take pictures I take pictures of Leo's avatar all the time.
This one's gonna cost you, VJ.
Sorry, it wasn't Samantha Fox or anyone like that.
It's gonna cost you a fish and chips and a couple of quid.
Cup of tea.
Tea and crumpets.
That's right.
VJ, since you speak proper English, I've done this to Daz before, right? I went on the Daz cast and I tried to do my British impression, and he says I sound Australian, but Australians say I sound British. So I'm going to try this with you and let me know what I sound like. Bloody right.
That's Australian.
That's Australian.
You sound like you've been doing the voiceovers for Watchdog Legions.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate. Yeah.
We're in jolly old London.
It's really interesting because I've been to some stores here in because I live in California, so I've been going to all your outlets here, and it's been mentioned several times, and they keep asking me, "Are you Australian? Are you from Australia?" And it's so strange. It's so strange.
The audacity.
You have to work on. Bloody hell! I gone and wet me knickers.
Bloody hell! I'm gonna wet me knickers.
I think Watchdog Legions is going to be really big this Christmas.
What does that phrase even mean? Is that like just like peeing your pants kind of phrase?
Yes.
Okay.
Or it can mean things if it's
A what?
What?
Your underwear.
Yes.
It's just like don't get excited or so and so forth. Don't get your knickers in a twist. Don't stop wetting your pants and stuff like that. Yeah, don't wet your knickers.
Bollocks.
Yep.
Now I'm just imagining Jay creating me an avatar clown of wetting his knickers, like his underwear. Yeah, I could picture Jay doing that. Well, without further ado, I mean, everybody's been on this panel, has been fired tonight, like Xbot said. The conversations have been flowing. VJ, Midway Monster, Leo, Xbot 448, of course. And I just have to do this one more time, Xbot. It's the Xbot 448.
Now you just sounded like the Ashton Luca trying to sound like Xbot. It was way better the first time, bro.
All right, so you do it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's the Xbot. It's the Xbot 448. I was pretty
forgot what's
close.
going on.
Beautifully done, guys. Beautifully done.
So
I heard harmony. I heard harmony in
so
that.
synchronized. It was amazing.
Except for the what's
So
going
clowns.
on, people.
So clowns, like a 40-year-old with a comb over. We gotta get the plugs in.
Oh yes, yes.
What?
Yeah.
What did I miss? I didn't hear that.
That's the way I end next podcast every week. Yeah, when we do the outros, I'm like a 40-year-old with a comb
homage.
over. We gotta get the plugs in.
All right. Well, you heard it first from Xbot. So, since Leo and Xbot were special guests, and I introduced Xbot first, I'll let Leo go first on the outro. Leo, besides Fork Boy's dumpster connection behind Kohl's, GameStop, and Walmart and Target, where some people claim they have seen you in a trench coat, where else can people find you?
One, I don't own a trench coat. Does anyone own a trench coat anymore? I don't know. Is that a thing? You can find me, Leonidas1084, everywhere. Wednesdays at 8 on Gaming Beyond the Box, and then Friday through Monday over on YouTube on the Wilmy Hood channel, doing the streaming thing. And on video game systems, I'm Leonidas1084 everywhere. I kept it simple. Find me.
Nice.
Oh, and I hope everyone has a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, Leo.
Appreciate it.
Xbot, where can people find you?
Yes, sir. Well, first off, I gotta say, absolutely awesome show tonight. I had a lot of fun with the panel. It is always, like I said, it is always so good to be on Four Guys, man. Clowns has always made me feel so comfortable here. It's like I would say second home, but I do 2 podcasts on YouTube, so I have to move it down to my third home. But it's always a blast. The chat is incredible as well. Shout out to you guys. If you haven't done it yet, hit that thumbs up button. Get the word out there. This is the longest running gaming podcast that I tune into, and still giving quality content, interesting topics, stuff like that. I think more people need to see this show. But in terms of outros, I keep everything simple. I have a small YouTube channel. It goes by Xbot448. I'm on Twitter. The handle is Xbot448. I'm on Xbox Live. Can you guess what my gamer tag is? Xbot448. Clowns, thank you again for having me on, man. I had a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for coming by, man. And hashtag NodeTaseXbot.
There you go. That's my favorite hashtag, by the way.
Midway, where can people find you?
Midway Monster, X in the middle, first and the last capital of both words. On Xbox, you can find me at Midway 7 Monster because Midway Monster was taken. Xbot, Leo, it was a pleasure. Hope to do it again sometime.
Sure,
VJ, you are a fountain of knowledge. We'll be happy to see you again tomorrow or next Tuesday, excuse me. So thank you very much, guys. This was a great show. Great show. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming every week so far, Midway. Definitely appreciate it. And love having you on the panel. Glad Dreadpool introduced us for sure. Sorry I couldn't hang out with you. Maybe next time.
It's all your fault.
I know. It is all my fault.
Just kidding. We'll get together.
VJ, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Viewpoint Gaming. I just wanted to say it was lovely to meet you, Xbot448 and Leonatis. Hopefully we do this again soon. Midway, I guess we're going to see each other. We'll be hearing a lot of each other quite often. So I'm looking forward to that. And Italian Clowns, thank you so much for having me on again. I really appreciate it. And it's just a fantastic outlet, to get your opinions out there and so on and so forth. And just sorry if I went on a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, VJ, you always bring the informational points and stuff that a lot of people don't even think of. I mean, you went as far back as 2000, and I wouldn't even have thought of that. I mean, that was mind blowing, VJ. That is some good information there. So greatly appreciate it. And everybody can find me at Italian Clowns below on almost all social media for GWQ. podcast on Twitter, as well as Italian Clowns. And I started a new show called 4GQ TV News Now with Flamish. He's a very energetic Belgium. He's the international sensation. I will say that for sure. That's a good... He admitted to me how much energy he has. He's like a bottled up bubbly soda. And he invents new words like cutesy, so check out those new shows because you'll hear some words that have never existed before. And you can catch me on this podcast, of course, on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends, Monday nights. And I just did Breaking Bread with Dread today. I think we did like a 3-hour podcast, which was fantastic. And, of course, hanging out with the Forkin crew on Game Beyond the Box of One Days. I'm now an official member. Yeah!
Nice.
So I'm excited about that.
So
Yeah.
hard not to tell you.
Yeah, so see you guys next week, man. And I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening, especially you dudes in India who downloaded the podcast now 24 times. Really appreciate it. See you guys
Night.
next week.
Awesome.